It's been one of my goals on YouTube in the last 6 months or so to highlight e commerce operators or business operators really that are crushing it behind the scenes and try to extract as much value from them as possible to provide to the world. And in today's video, I'm doing just that. I want to share with you an interview with Rayan, a young entrepreneur who was able to go from basically zero to $1.5 million drop shipping in the span of about 5 or 6 months. Pretty impressive stuff. I tried to get as much value from him as possible to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's get right into it. But before we do, if you want to support the channel for free, there's 3 ways to do that. 1, subscribe to the channel. 2, like this video. And 3, use our Shopify link in the description to start a Shopify store for only $1 a month for 3 months. That is an insane deal, and you can find it in the description of this video. It's a great way to support the channel and a great way to save some money for something you'll probably do anyways. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, okay, your name is Ryan.
Rayan, but close.
Rayan. Okay, Rayan. That's actually cooler. So nice. That's cool. You reached out to me a little bit ago because you have done like 2022, like over, what was it? Like 1.3 million or something like that with your dropshipping brand?
I believe 1.5 or 1.7. We started the business in April of last year, and yeah, so close 2022 we did I think 1.5 or 1.6 million.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. And how old are you again?
24.
24. When did you start your store, bro?
April 6th, 2022. That's the exact date.
Wow. Okay, so 4 months in, you were able to scale that quickly. That's amazing. Did you have any prior background in e-commerce at all?
Yeah, so I got into ecom around 2017, fall of 2017. I had dropped out of college for a year. I was playing soccer and some things didn't work out. So
Mm.
I dropped out, went back home and saw a YouTube ad on, e-commerce, drop shipping, and it kind of just like piqued my interest. So, dove into it a little bit. My first store, I was selling hats. Um, had that for like a year, made about 10K. Had a few other stores.
Was it like a print-on-demand store or?
No, it was just
Oh,
like
okay.
straight drop shipping. Like it was just baseball caps.
Nice.
Yeah, we made about 10K in a year. It was obviously unprofitable. Learned a lot, and then kind of repeated that process 3 or 4 more times until like I finally like hit it.
Found the one. That's actually really that's inspiring, man. And I'm glad that you mentioned that because a lot of the people that watch my channel are perhaps in a similar situation where they've had a little bit of success. They've seen that you can get sales, like they understand the process, but they haven't been able to actually build a business out of it. So my first question then, or not first question, but my question then would be, how were you able to pivot into what you are doing now? Like what was that process like? Like did you just drop everything else you were doing, or were you continuing to test new things on the side while continuing to, run your other stores, or did you just close them down and start something fresh?
I closed them down and started something fresh. So had this first business for a year, made about 10K. I was still in school. I went back to school. I was kind of on and off with ecom because being in school, I was playing soccer too. It was so hard, um, and I just kind of took like the learnings from each store and just kind of applied it to the next. So the second store, um, I was selling drones.
Mm.
Um, I reached out. I actually bought like a mentorship from .com Cam. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I do. I think he does a lot of like web development now
He
or
does web
something.
development, like crypto stuff now, but he's been like really off the radar.
Hmm.
And yeah, he kind of like made a pre-built dropshipping store for me. I had his phone number and would kind of reach out to him doing that. And I only had that store for like 4 months. We did like 5K in 4 months, which is like an improvement from like 10K in the year.
Yeah.
Um, had a lot of issues with the technology of the drones. It was a shit process. Making
Hmm.
ads was difficult. Um, and closed that store. That was like 2018-ish. Took another, little break, just like I said, applied those learnings to the next store. And the next brand was a ring light, a selfie ring light that clips onto your phone.
Oh, that's a
Um,
good product.
yeah, I reached out to for like more mentorship from a guy named Luke All. I'm sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I actually had him on my channel as
Oh
well.
yeah, yeah.
Funny enough.
Yeah, and I'm still in contact with him to this day. He's a really good friend. Has been like a big mentor in this process. Um, and I started building this store. I still have it. I'm still technically like own it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Selfie Bay. Um, and yeah, we that was like the first like that. So this is really interesting because I built this store in 2019, fall of 2019, when TikTok ads had just like allowed people to start advertising. Like the only big brands on there were like Coca-Cola, like really big brands, and getting approved was so hard. And I remember TikTok ads just popping off instantly because there was nobody advertising on the platform.
Yeah.
So, um, in a few months, we were able to do, I think, like 50 or 60K. This was by myself. And
Wow.
so this was like, oh my God, like, okay, like
This
I
works.
think this actually works, you know? Um, and then in about this November, I partnered with him and, we scaled, I think, to like 60, 70K per month. And then long story short, ran into some like crazy logistics issues, had to go through a bunch of crazy refunds, and things kind of like tanked from there.
Mm-hmm.
Over the next year, year and a half, we kind of like recovered, and we're actually doing like pretty good volume on Amazon now, which is cool. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
we're
actually
kind
really cool.
yeah, we're only on Amazon. We still have our website, but most of our traffic is Amazon right now, and it's actually starting to pick up, which is really interesting. So that brand was kind of like a success turned failure, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I was kind of doing the thing and, partnered with a guy, things started going even better, and then it just kind of tanked. That like killed me mentally, and I stopped ecom like entirely.
Really?
Yeah, this was mid 2020.
Right at the
I was
pandemic.
Yeah, that was pandemic. And that summer, yeah, I completely stopped ecom. I was going into my senior year of college and was just like, I'm gonna focus on school, focus on soccer, and it was always just on and off. Come uh come like November of 2021, um, yeah, I graduated, got my degree in
Nice.
business, and for a couple months looked for a job and started working a 9 to 5. Um,
Wow. Okay, this is a
yeah,
really interesting story.
it's really interesting, yeah, because I feel like the traditional e-com story is like I dropped out and I make millions of dollars,
Yeah,
so
exactly. This sounds like a more realistic.
it's
This is
so
great.
realistic. And so I got my degree, got a 9 to 5. I was working in cybersecurity, in a marketing position. It was just like a typical uh, digital marketing specialist, whatever
Oh, wow,
crap.
yeah, okay.
And yeah, my salary was 50K a year, like, nothing. As like in today's day and age, it's really not much.
Yeah.
But I had a 9 to 5. I was thankful. I was making money, and I was never really big on TikTok. Like I wasn't the type of dopamine I need to scroll. I had it,
Hmm.
but never really went on it. And one day I was laying down and was just scrolling through my feed, and I something on my For You page popped up of this guy named Brandon who was doing drop shipping with false eyelashes, and he offered some type of mentorship, and that was kind of like the pivotal moment in my life when I was like, why did I stop? Why did I get out of ecom? Like, what on earth am I doing working a 9 to 5, knowing the skill set I have, knowing what I could have achieved? And
Hmm.
so that led me down a rabbit hole, and started doing the whole product research, started talking to this guy, ended up paying for his mentorship. It was really cheap at the time. It was only 500. Um, booking calls whenever you wanted.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I had a couple ideas for brands. I was gonna start a teeth whitening brand, already custom branded. Um, and the inventory was gonna take too long to come in because of just like the pandemic was like picking back up again, which is really
Yeah.
interesting. So come about in January, February, March, I was really getting back in, and I found the product, that I sell now.
Wow.
And my product research has never been like a you know, sell things that people are selling or use spy tools. I've always been somebody to sell products that have never been sold before to create the market for it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, not many, I get a lot of questions about that, and I'm just like, my process has been the same since day one, which is literally scrolling through AliExpress or Alibaba. Um, Whatever catches my eye, I might, make a list of it, narrow it down, and then order samples of each and kind of see if it checks out. And yeah, so I saw the product I have now on Alibaba and looked it up everywhere. Amazon, Google, anything I could find. Nobody, nobody selling it. Not even Amazon, which was, that was just the craziest thing to me. I was like, whatever. I asked my girlfriend about it. She's like, it's kind of cool, but it's like, whatever. I got the
Yeah.
same feedback from like my sisters. Kind of slept on it. And a week later, I saw the same thing on AliExpress, same product. And I was like, I think it's
It's a
something just,
sign.
it was a gut feeling. My intuition and gut has been one of the things that have taken me so far. And, I was like, I'm going to order a sample. And yeah, it came in the mail. And I was like, oh my God, like this is, there's something with this product. And it took me about a few weeks to launch the store. Like I said, started on April 6th. And we were just straight TikTok ads. And it took off like immediately.
Wow.
My mindset going into this brand was it wasn't a brand. It was me getting back into ecom and whatever happens, happens. And it just took off immediately. Within 30 days, we hit 100K, and it just
That's
exploded.
amazing.
Yeah, and I
Wow,
think
bro.
all the learnings, every learning from each store, and that finally when I found like the product that was right, it just it just took off.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say you mentioned your intuition and how that kind of helped you with that product. And I would say like maybe taking that long break and focusing on school and just kind of going the traditional route, maybe like that was a necessary part of the journey, like I feel like for me, for example, I consider that a part. I went through a similar process where I was in school, and I wasn't gonna. I did leave school in the end, but it was because it was just I had a 6 figure a month store. It just didn't make any sense for me to continue to go to school. But I had a job that whole time, like in it. I think it gave me like a sense of security or something, and it motivated me even more to be working on my like actual business. So that's pretty cool that you went down that path. So you said that you started on TikTok exclusively. What made you start on TikTok only?
I didn't know how to run Facebook ads. It had
Okay.
been a couple of years since I ran any, and I was like, I don't know how new this product is gonna last. So TikTok was something I understood. It was something I was, good at. So it was all TikTok ads. I wasn't doing any organic at the time. It was just,
Just straight
yeah.
ads.
Mhm.
And you made your own content, or what did you do to actually like start running the ads?
I think that's a important question. I've always made my own ads, like since day one, with any brand, failed or successful. I found that that's a very big struggle in a lot of brand owners
Hmm.
who are trying to either test something or scale something. Is they constantly have to outsource them. Me personally, creative has been my strong suit, and with any brand I had, I made my own. I made my own creatives. Um, it's something that I got better with over time, but now it's like I spend a couple hours and I can make 7, 8, 9 like just killer ads.
Yeah. And what made you? Why are you such a strong creative? Like, did you already have prior experience making videos, or did you just pick it up fast?
It's something I just picked up. It's always a skill I've had. Like I've always loved to take pictures, make videos. It's one of those things I just kind of understood. And just knowing what works and how to make the right things. It's just I think I had maybe like an advantage of just like liking the creative side, but it's
Yeah.
something that definitely improved over time, like just like any skill does.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So now for this current brand, are you looking into getting on Amazon, or are you on Amazon already? Like, how are you managing Amazon
So
and Shopify?
Yeah, we're actually gonna be on Amazon in a few days. Yeah, we're doing it FBM, so it's like fulfilled by the merchant,
Yeah,
which is like
okay.
3PL, and not FBA, which is Amazon Prime. I would like to be in, Amazon Prime soon, but that's a pretty long process with how many products and variants I have. Um, but they actually have an app that links Amazon to Shopify. So any orders that come through Amazon is going to go to Shopify, and my 3PL will fulfill it.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, that's amazing, man. Now, what does your team look like these days then? Because you went from, basically zero to over 1 million in like half a year almost. How have you expanded your team, or is it still mainly like a one man show?
So that's a very interesting question, and I thought I was the only one in this position who's gone through it. Maybe not, but yeah. So we hit 1 million in about 5 months, 5.5 months. And my thought process when the store was growing was, oh my God, this is my first successful business. I need to do everything I can to grow it and outsource and have a team. And I started off with one VA after we hit like 150, 200K. Um, and then all of a sudden, I just hired. Like I outsourced everything. I'm talking Facebook, Google, email. I had a TikTok ad agency. I had a Pinterest ad agency.
Oh, wow.
I had a CRO agency. Like I pretty much outsourced everything because I think, obviously hindsight's 2020, but in the time period I was in, I was like, I need to make sure I do everything to make sure this business grows. And I've had too many situations where things were almost successes and it didn't
Hmm.
quite, come into fruition. Um, and so that's what I did initially. And that actually, bit me in the butt like 4 or 5 months later when I realized I'm not making as much money as I think I am. And my fixed costs were just ridiculous, like absolutely insane. So yeah, and then I had hired two more VAs. Um, so a couple months ago, I that's when I had the realization that I wasn't we were doing 250, 300K months. My take home was like 2% of that. And that's one of the big issues that one of the big mistakes that I made was not being dialed in to my finances.
Mm.
But as of today, we have three VAs, a Google guy, um, a Facebook guy, and that's it. And they're all negotiated as low as possible. So my fixed costs are like drastically different than what they were before.
Nice.
And
That's a good
yeah,
balance.
yeah,
Yeah, I can see that. That's actually really interesting that you mentioned that because I think that's like an easy thing to go after is just outsourcing everything as soon as possible. It sounds like the right move, right? Like free up your time, and it is true. Um, but cash flow is so important, and like if you're not cash flowing and you don't have an intent to exit, then it's like that's a bad cycle, like that's gonna end up pretty badly unless you like sell the business or something. So that's kind of my next question would be, what is your goal with the business now? Is it just to continue to grow? Is it to exit and start something fresh? Or what are your plans now?
I want to sell the business. We hit a year in 2 months and 3 days. Um, when the business really started blowing up and I realized like, I did it.
Yeah.
I finally had, it's finally working. I told myself I was like, okay, we're gonna build this thing like an actual brand. I branded the product within 3 weeks. Decided to come to the US after 4 months. And the vision kind of became from whatever happens, happens. It went from that to, I want to exit this brand for hopefully at least 7 figures. And that's kind of the goal. Whether that's in 2 months from now, 6 months from now,
Hmm.
that's kind of the vision. And I think after that, I want to take a break for a while from ecom.
Oh, really?
Um, I want to be done with it for a while. Actually, I have a it's really interesting because I know I mentioned I play soccer.
Yeah.
Um, the whole reason why I started ecom and the whole making money on your own time was because I wanted to pursue soccer. I played in high school, I played in college, I played semi-professionally, and I still play like 5 days a week. Um,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, I've gone to a few professional combines in the last few months. Um, so I pretty much want to exit, take the money and sit on it, use it for whether it's real estate or investing, something that's actually going to build me passive income because I feel like a lot of people love saying that like e-commerce is passive income. Like,
Yeah,
no, it's
hell no.
I think that's a huge misconception. And so I want to have some type of real passive income and I just want to play soccer.
Wow, that's super cool, man. I did not expect you to go down that route, but that was like I love that. I think that's amazing. So when did you start playing soccer? Where when you were young?
Yeah, so I was like 9 or 10. In high school, everyone has the dream of, playing professionally, whatever. And it's something that never like got out of my head. It wasn't like, after my senior year, I was like, college is fun. It was always like, I always found myself coming back to soccer and that same vision that I had in when I was young, when I was in middle school, high school is like, I just want to play soccer.
Wow.
And I'm not really concerned about, how much I get paid, like whatever. That's it. Something I like to think of, and I don't like to think in the future, but I'm like, okay, let's say I'm X amount years old. I have the money, I have the car, I have the house, but I decided to give up on soccer. Like, I know within myself I won't be happy.
Mm.
Um, and so it's pretty much me, running this multi seven figure business while playing soccer 5, 6 days a week, going to the gym 5, 6 days a week. And, I'm not talking about just like regular pickup. Like, I'm playing with like really high level players, like 2 hours a day. Like it's tough. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot to manage, but that's a great vision though. I actually love so basically you started the an online business to free up your time so that you could pursue what you love,
Yep.
which is different than what a lot of people I talk to go through. So I really admire that because a lot of people they get into it in order to just make money, and like you said, they don't have that introspective nature where they can say, okay, well, once I do get the money, then what?
And what,
Money
yeah.
is the end all be all to them, and that's that ends up
Well,
pretty badly.
yeah, and that's what I've said to a few people. It's like money is the driver, but like why? Like what is it? Another part of that like vision for me is like my family and
Mm-hmm.
being able, that's pretty much my life goal. If anything's higher than soccer, it's to be able to retire my parents and put my family in a good situation. But it's like, yeah, money's the driver, but like why? Like, okay, let's say, John has all the money and it's like, but what was the vision? Like, what did you want it for?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So like that's kind of because I've gone through a lot of ups and downs with the business, and we've gone through periods of time where I was like, I'm not going to survive.
Yeah.
When all my fixed costs were too high, and, my bank account got dangerously low. But that vision, that what's the word, intrinsic value that I have of like what my bigger vision is, that's kind of what has always kept me grounded. And it's just like you move on and you push forward to the next day and you keep going.
That's awesome. Where are you from again?
I'm based out of Detroit.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's such an interesting story, man. I mean, I'm really happy that we were able to get this interview going because I think we shared some things that I was not expecting to talk about that
Mhm.
I think are hugely valuable. I mean, more valuable than like a strategy or whatever. But I actually do want to touch on one more thing, strategy related, just so that we kind of have a nice overview of everything. A lot of people think that success comes down to like a specific strategy. What do you think made this product so successful? Like, did you think about who was going to be the customer, or like why people would buy it, or what were you thinking about? Be like you said you had an intuition, but what was the thought process behind actually picking this product?
That's an interesting question. I mean, my product, and it's not many people buy it because of like the why around it or like the pain points it solves. I think what I've noticed is that in this process, a lot of people are looking at very minute details. Like I have someone that I'm mentoring, and he will look into every small detail of like the product page and like the exact like details of the ad and like every small, those little things, not the big things that move the needle, which are going to be just like a good creative, making sure you have good lighting, um, fast transitions, a good landing page. I think my strategy was I what I like to do myself is I like to put my act as I'm the consumer myself. Say, would I buy this product? Like, is this a good product description? Is this a good ad? I think being completely honest with yourself and with myself has been the biggest thing of like, does this look good? Like, would you buy this? Because I think as e-commerce people, we tend not to think like consumers. I think we think like, oh, this is gonna work, but like ask yourself, ask someone else, does this look good? Like, would you buy this? Um, and that's kind of the strategy I had is just being completely honest with it. Like, does this look like crap or does this look good? You know?
Yeah, that's smart. Especially asking the people around you. I really like that approach as well because people don't do that. They're either like, and it people sometimes will be embarrassed about what they're selling or something. It's like, well, if you're having those feelings, maybe maybe it's good to reevaluate like what you're actually doing, right? And maybe trying to do something different.
No, like, absolutely, I agree.
So yeah, Rayan, it was really nice to meet you, bro. And where can people find you if they want to reach out to you or whatever?
Um, I'm I'm pretty. It's funny, and that's another thing that I'm not very active in like the money Twitter world. Like YouTube, I don't know. I don't have a YouTube. I have a Twitter that I use, and it's funny. I have a Twitter for ecom, and I have a personal Twitter. So I'm only I'll drop my ecom Twitter to you. A lot of my story is written on there actually, in a lot more detail. Um, yeah, I have a pinned tweet that literally talks about my entire story,
Okay, that's
and
awesome.
that would be the only place. But yeah, man.
Sweet. Well, I'll be linking that in the description then of this video. But is there anything else you wanna say or you wanna leave people off with or
I would say if there's one last thing that I seem to like try to push in my, because like I have a small Discord with like 30 people. It's just like nothing big. The agenda I seem to always try to push towards everybody is having that vision, because motivation is and discipline is like what takes you to like where you need to go. Like those are gonna build those skill sets. Those are gonna, after your 5, 6, 7 failed stores, like that's gonna keep pushing you to, you know, get to wherever you need to be. But it's so cliche, but it's like it really is a mindset thing, I think, and having that like vision of like why do you want the money? Like what is it? Is it your own freedom? Is it for your family? Is it, do you have bigger goals like I do? Like I guess just like being completely honest with yourself and finding out what those goals are, and if they're big enough and if they mean enough to you, like you're going to get through it no matter what. Like you're going to get where you need to be in due time, and you know that's pretty much it.
awesome, man. That's such a great message. I love it. Well, thanks so much again, bro. We'll talk
Yeah,
soon.
no problem. Take care.